What is the scariest thing you've woken up to in the middle of the night? I had a frog jump on my chest. No shirt on, lying in bed, a big moist splat right on my chest. Of course I freaked out and flung it off me. Turned on the lights and saw that stupid frog just sitting there with its stupid frog face. When I was 15, I woke up one night after our 21-year-old cat decided to sleep with me. She wasn't there with me and I got worried. I turned my bedroom light on and saw the cat on the ground. Upon closer investigation, I found out she was dead. I was devastated. We had this cat since before I was even born, and she helped raise me like I was her own son. I couldn't go back to sleep at all. I just kind of sat around not really doing much besides bawling my eyes out. Meaningless edit. Jesus, this comment got more points than I have in karma. Hey, look at it this way. When cats feel that something is terribly wrong with them, they just go away and hide due to their instincts. Your cat chose to stay near you. That cat loved you till the end. Also, username checks out. You're right, cats will often know when the end is near for them and find a quiet hidden place to die. Your cat was obviously your friend and wanted to be near you when she passed. This didn't happen to me, but it's funny so I thought I would share. My parents own a pizza cutter with a picture of Homer Simpson on it. It used to say MMM. Pizza. Whenever you cut a slice, but one day they washed it after using it and the water must have got into somewhere it shouldn't have because in the middle of the night they were woken up to distorted sounds of pizza coming from the kitchen. My daughter had a Tommy teddy bear that said different things. Went downstairs one night to get a drink through the kitchen. While walking through the pitch-black living room all I heard was "Peekaboo, I see you." Don't know why it did it to this day, pretty sure it wasn't motion activated and the room as I say was pitch black dark. The doorbell at 3 a.m. except it was the wrong chime. You had two options, ding dong or the Westminster chime. We opted for the vanilla ding dong. My uncle had passed away at Westminster Hospital due to heart complications and only a few nights before the doorbell chime went off. I ran to my parents' bedroom who were both sitting upright with pale faces. Suffice to say I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Edit 1, accidentally put after instead of before. This is the only reply that has given me goosebumps. We lived in a decent-sized house in the woods. It was 1 a.m. and I was sleeping in my bedroom which was on the second floor. I heard talking and I assumed it was my parents. I was not a fearful child, the dark didn't bother me. So I just sprinted as fast as I could downstairs but totally silent. Once I reached the bottom I heard the back porch door slam close. I, still assuming it was my parents, ran towards it giggling. Reaching the porch I saw the door to the backyard was also closing. I ran to it because we had a jacuzzi at the time and thought my parents were out there. They were not. So there stood my 10-year-old self. I remember the feeling of the cold wooden deck under my feet and how bright the moon was and how quiet the night was, which is weird for us being in the woods and all. I was very confused and got really scared because my parents aren't the pranking type, so I quickly ran back inside and locked the doors and ran upstairs to see my parents asleep in bed. I slept with them that night. I told them about it the next day but unfortunately I blamed it on ghosts which made me lose any credibility that it wasn't a dream. Thinking back I probably scared the living shit out of whoever it was. Imagine walking through a quiet, pitch black living room and a tiny creature with its arms opened wide runs at you dead sprint giggling. I have sleep paralysis and in the past have night terrors. So I woke up from a nightmare and then was frozen in place as my dreams broke into reality. It's happened more than once. Not fun. I get them Oswell. I find the best way to deal with not seeing anything is to sleep in total darkness. Also find going to sleep only when I'm truly exhausted helps. I once was staying at a friend's house when I was about 16, laying on the floor next to a pile of wires, when I suddenly opened my eyes and pictured a hideous screaming zombie head like right next to my face. Another time, I hallucinated my friend walking casually into my room, standing next to my bed and only uttering the word devil before walking out of my room. It was the scariest shit. The worst night terror forehead was when I felt dogs or wolves gritting and pulling my legs out of bed. Sorry I had to vent because sleep paralysis is fucking traumatic. Ugh, I have sleep paralysis too, and I've had the same dream with dogs attacking my legs, and I swear my brain made me actually feel the pain. Another tip is to avoid sleeping on your back. I'm a side/stomach sleeper, so it's easier for me. I even told my fiancé to wake me up if he ever sees me sleeping on my back, lol. Two guys talking out on my fire escape right near my window. It was summer, so my window was wide open, but it was pitch black, so they couldn't see me and I couldn't see them, even though I was just a few feet away. I was about to cough in hopes to startle them, but then I heard them start to climb higher up and go into the apartment above me. Months later I hear someone climbing up the fire escape, but this time it was early in the evening, so I was watching TV. I go to the window to see, and it was just my neighbor. He said he locked himself out of his apartment. I didn't know him well, but I asked if he did this a few months ago with someone else. He said yeah, and we started laughing. My bedroom was in the basement. I was the only one that lived down there. There weren't any windows, so I had a hard time telling what time of day it was unless I checked my phone. I woke up to the basement door slowly creaking open, then slowly creaking closed again. I thought that was weird, because my bedroom door was always closed and I was usually a heavy sleeper, so my family didn't really bother trying to hide the fact that they were coming downstairs. Plus, as mentioned earlier, the door was really creaky, so there was no point anyway. Then all of a sudden I heard something slowly making its way down the stairs. All I could hear was a slow and steady drrrrrrrog thump like out of some freaking horror movie. Someone had broken into my house in the middle of the night and was going to murder me. I scrambled out of my bed and crouched behind it, facing the door. All the while I kept hearing this drrrrrrrog thump. I started going over my options, simultaneously feeling for the baseball bat I had hidden under my bed. My room only had one exit, and the last thing I wanted to do was get myself stuck in a corner. I figured I'd try to lock the door and see if that deterred whoever was coming after me, and if that didn't work I'd run out swinging and GTFO, family and pets be damned. I inched my way closer to the door. Drrrrrrrog thump. Over the years the house's foundation had shifted somewhat, so my bedroom door sat at a slight angle and didn't close properly unless you really pushed, so it was usually slightly ajar. I reached the door and put my hand on it, all the while the dragging and thumping noises were getting louder and louder, closer and closer. Drrrrrrog thump. I pushed the door closed, hearing the latch click into place. There was a pause. Then suddenly, "It's just me," my mom called. I threw open the door. Mom took one look at me and burst into laughter. It wasn't the middle of the night, it was 7 a.m., and my mom had decided to swiffer the basement stairs. I never lived that one down. I kind of have late night hallucinations where I'm dreaming but awake type of thing. A few of the worst things to happen was one night I woke up to something standing outside my room. It was pitch black except for my alarm clock, but I knew something was out there. Soon the thing starts charging at my bed. This was one of the most common hallucinations BTW, so I knew how to deal with it. I reach for my phone to turn a light on but couldn't find it. The thing reaches my bed and trips. I see a human arm on the side of my bed and it's climbing up to my bed. Now I'm in full on panic mode cause this is the farthest it's gotten. Frantically throwing my arms around trying to find my phone, I finally get it and turn on the light. Nothing there. I have a lot more, but that was probably the most traumatizing. Man, I get those sometimes, but I often see the face right before I wake up, and it's usually a snarling black spiky face with the blackest eyes. The figure often starts by slowly opening my bedroom door, and when I begin to notice it, it lunges at me. I have a pretty big bedroom, so it takes a few seconds to reach my face, but it's awful and it traumatizes me. I wish there was a way to stop sleep paralysis. I think my worst one, other than the one in my above comment, was when I was trying to catch a dust particle that wasn't there, just one of the things that happens, and I hear a scream and a cloud of dust comes flying at me with a terrifying face. I don't think I have sleep paralysis cause I can move, but it might be a symptom. I got some rope lights and sleep with those on now, and it seems to stop the hallucinations. My mentally ill and drug-addicted older brother holding a knife to my throat threatening to rape me if I told on him for stealing my money. I had saved up about $300 without him knowing when my mom stupidly mentioned on the phone with him in earshot to one of her friends how proud she was of me for being responsible and saving that $300 for my own martial arts training equipment. That night my older brother snuck in, covered my mouth and pressed a knife to my throat and woke me up demanding the money and saying he was going to rape me and then kill me if I said a word to our parents about it, and then made me get the money from my hiding place and give it to him. I was about 10 at the time. A cat jumping on my chest. It wasn't my cat. I woke up and freaked out, throwing it halfway across the room. I scared it pretty bad, I guess, because it went wild and attacked me. You ever been attacked by a cat? Truly, it's trying to kill you. Attacked? Those things become living devils. By the time I managed to get it locked in my bathroom, my legs and arms were covered in deep cuts and bite marks. I was bleeding everywhere and scared shitless. Turns out, it was my neighbor's cat, but neither of us could figure out how or why it got into my place. She felt super shitty about it and paid for my trip to the doc. One cut on my right leg was deep enough to need 2 stitches, but I was otherwise only superficially hurt. I'm not mad at the cat for attacking, and it was confirmed quickly she didn't have rabies. She just got spooked by me throwing her and yelling and attacked in self-defense. It took a while to realize it was a cat attacking me in the moment. I was sure it was a raccoon or a possum. I've posted this before, so I'll copy that comment below. Sorry for the mobile format. A few years ago I was woken up by someone lightly poking me in the forehead at 5 a.m. I woke up thinking it was my roommate, but when my eyes started to adapt to the darkness I saw a 2 meters man standing next to my bed. He immediately threw himself to the floor and covered his face. I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't even scream as I was completely shocked. While I was thinking of what to use as a weapon, he got up and started running out of the apartment, and for some reason I jumped out right behind him. Don't know why I did, tbh, and only then I started screaming for help. He eventually made it out of the apartment and started going down the stairs. I gained some sense and realized I probably shouldn't be following this huge, tall, unknown man and ran back to my apartment. One of my roommates was ready to go follow him, bat in hand and all, but we decided it'd be better to just call the police. We never found out who he was or why he was there, and nothing was stolen or taken. Took me a long time to make it through the night calmly again, and even more to feel comfortable at that apartment, especially by myself. I used to experience sleep paralysis hallucinations. I woke up to the purple, wrinkled face of an old woman next to me on the pillow, speaking a language I'd never heard but understood perfectly. I immediately forgot everything she'd said upon fully waking up, but had the sense that she was warning me about some serious apocalyptic shit that was coming within my lifetime, and how we had to take very specific actions very soon if we were to have any chance to stop it before it was too late. Turns out I'd actually been looking at my red and blue plaid pajama pants wadded up next to me, and my sleep paralysis hallucination turned it into a purple wrinkled face. My girlfriend having a scary dream and rocking back and forth yelling, "This is why we're here right now. This is why we're here." I checked my phone and it had just hit 3 a.m. The devil's hour supposedly. I don't believe in much of that stuff, but I did throw my old rosary around her and kept a smaller one for myself. What the fuck, man? The next morning, she was rested, happy, and had no idea why a rosary slid off her lap once she climbed out of bed. When I told her about the dream, she didn't remember it at all and found it hilarious. Waking up to my uncle's cat scratching the door. She's supposed to stay downstairs with the doors closed so she doesn't wake us up, Occasionally my grandma tells me to go upstairs and then comes upstairs 5 minutes later and forgets to close the door, letting the cat upstairs. I keep a laser pointer in my room, and every time she wakes me up I lure her into my grandma's room to deal with her and then going back to sleep. I then wake up 5 minutes later to my grandparents yelling, "God damn it kitty, I am not gonna feed you." Between 18-21ish, after my parents split and my mum started staying at her new partner's house, I was terrified of the house being broken into while I was alone. Got woken up at 3 a.m. one morning about then to a loud thud on the door and I immediately freeze. Another one about 10 seconds later, and another, and another. 5 minutes go by and I'm pretty much having a heart attack at this point. Eventually hear some tearful woman shout, "Open the fucking door." And I breathe a sigh of relief as I realize it's my neighbor's ex wanting a word with him. Still didn't get back to sleep though. I lived by myself on the ground floor of an apartment building in Fort Lauderdale. One night, around 3 a.m., I was awoken by someone pounding on my bedroom window. It freaked me the fuck out and the sudden rush of adrenaline had me jolt out of bed and shout, I'll fucking kill you," to whoever it was trying to break in. My bedroom faced an unlit garden courtyard, so when I pulled back the curtains, I couldn't see anyone. Freaked out, I took a lap around the apartment with my gun to make sure no one was inside. When I got to my bathroom, I quickly flicked on the lights and saw that my shower rod and curtain had fallen into the bathtub, and my stupid brain mistook this for someone pounding on my window.